Welcome everyone. We are back with another podcast, and today's podcast is gonna be very interesting, but even more importantly, gonna be sort of educative or educational because we are going to talk about education. So, uh, as usual, Patrick is with me, and Domi is back with us with another
Hi
podcast.
guys, hi guys.
Hi guys, welcome back everyone. Yeah, as Ron said, today's topic is going to be really interesting. And as you can say that education is just like a part of our lives. So this is why we would like to talk about this a little bit. And of course, because we have some viral issues as well with education. And of course, we need to talk about this topic more and more over time.
And this is the perfect time, so it's up to date because we have more and more time here when we're not going to school, spending our life in our homes, and trying to make it useful in a way that we could. And self-education is the best mode that we can bring out more of this time.
Exactly. And also a very, I think a very important debate of the 21st century most likely is how education and self improvement balances each other out, or how much as you could see in the index picture, actually, how much do we need that normal education, how much do we need self education. We will cover all this and most probably some kind of stuff about education systems as well in this podcast. Um, so yeah, uh, let us just start with, I think the basics is so for both of you. How much do you think you learned things by the education system, and how much do you think you learned the things you know nowadays by yourself, by your experiences?
I think you should start with this. Yeah. You can tell to me.
So I go to high 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 school,
Yeah.
where we learn everything. So from uh, drawing lessons to singing, physics, math, everything. Uh, yeah, they teach us the data, the facts, but still, I don't see that it had a big influence on my life. So it's just kind of boring for me, but still now. So I spent a lot of time learning these things because now I'm in 11th grade, and this will count in my graduation points. But still, I'm trying to put in the hours in education that I organize for myself. So in every possible way. For example, right now I'm reading How Think and Grow Rich, the book. It's I just love it. It's pretty interesting for the second time. And yeah, I think I get so self education changed my life 3 4 years ago, and I just quite happy for this opportunity that we can bring out of technology.
Can you review that
This
to 100%? Yeah. So yes, for me, self-education is quite like important part of my life, of course. Sometimes I believe more in self-education than like the education that is provided to us by the government and by the um, by uh, by the public. Um, the unfortunate thing is that when I'm really into self-education and self-development, then I rather like put public education to the side, push that to the side, and sometimes I just fuck my exams and tests up a little bit, just like some bad grades, you know. Unfortunately, in the system, we are just like ordered into the system by the numbers we get on our test, and this is the only thing why I'm motivated to learn these things, and this is why I believe we really need to like separate the two, like public education and self development and self education. And yeah, moving on to Roland, what's your thoughts about this?
Yeah. So I think for me it has been very much always both existing in my life, as of course especially in high school. Like primary school, you don't really do self education. Like let's be honest. And the fact is that after getting into high school, I got really into self education, but I think always been very cautious about my grades in school. So I would say I always try to push both um to the fullest, which is not always good, by the way. Uh, I mean, it sounds cool and everything, but it has downs, especially if you think of being sort of tired and unenergized, and also unmotivated because in school you learn a lot of useless stuff, and so my experiences was, even though without being um, without being uh, more into self education than normal education, my experiences was that I developed more with self education. My example is especially with my English. I always say how I actually got the basis in school. I got a really good basis in school, but I learned this English, which I'm speaking now, on this level by myself, especially with Europe, for example. So my experience is that actually self development is just more efficient than normal education. Uh,
Yeah, of course, but we have to mention that like public education really provides you some things like, for instance, we have the opportunity to use books freely, so it's not like we don't have to pay for those. And of course, we are provided teachers and private educational possibilities as well. For instance, additional lessons at the end of the day. And of course, we are in quite good like community in the classroom. So
yeah, that's
actually,
true.
that space is quite good because you can help each other out. You can help each other with the homework and things like that. So it's quite good. And of course, socializing skills can be actually like um, developed there. As a matter of fact, so it's quite important to join public school, but in order to keep up with your work and keep up with your life, you need to do some self-development as well. Of course, this is my thoughts, as a matter of fact. Shall we just like answer questions right now, or do we
I
actually
think we
do this
can.
at the end?
I think we can answer now. Like,
All right. So yeah, I think Roland, you should just like answer the question first. Yeah, and just like read this a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, of course. So the question was, what is our opinion about rich kids who did not learn and now they rich? Like, probably, I think he means because of heritage. And honestly, that may sound not the best, but I don't want to be them. I really don't want to be them. I think the things that you not work for, you do not appreciate and you do not actually like. And when you got, for example, money without learning or without working for that money, it's not necessarily just educational learning. Then I really really believe that we won't appreciate money, and so that sucks. I think that sucks. If you don't learn appreciating things, that sucks. So I would say my opinion is mostly that I don't want to be them. It's not cool. Even if it sounds very easy, it's not cool.
Tommy?
Well,
What?
if you just get something, so right now money, then and if you can't use it in a way that it has to be done, then you will just lost it. So yeah, if you don't appreciate it, then you will spend it on on things that you don't need, and therefore you won't be rich anymore.
That's true, though. That's very true.
So you have to learn the things that will help you along your way in life. And if you just get something, then you have to keep it, not just live with it, because eventually things can disappear.
Yeah, I can agree with that. There's a truthful thought about this actually. It was from a writer whose name is Kiyosaki. I don't know whether you know his works. He wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, and in
Oh.
this book it is mentioned that it is actually quite easy to get rich. The tough part is to keep that level and to become wealthy in the end. So getting rich is easy, but managing your money and knowing how to actually invest or double or triple or multiply your money while actually doing nothing but let your money work for you, it is really important to know these things. So it's not enough to have money. It's like more about the knowledge about money and how to manage these kind of stuff, of course. I think we've done quite well on this question,
Yeah.
haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But,
what kind of things we talked about like beforehand?
oh yeah. So I think we were just comparing our
Yeah.
experiences with self-education and normal education, and now I think is the right time to talk about the normal education. And I mean,
Yeah.
by what we experience with normal education, because I think in order to see what is important and what is better actually, we have to see what is happening right now in our normal education, which is I think, of course, we can mostly talk about our experiences in Hungary, but I think we can. I think there is one thing we can generally say about most of the education, and it's how it is lexical knowledge based, and it is on. I mean, not based on it, but it gets a lot of. It has a lot of lexical knowledge in it, and the useless lexical knowledge in it. And I believe, generally, that's a problem in our education. In our education, I think it's a problem on next level, and it is a problem in education itself, in my opinion, at least.
Well, I have to add that that isn't the problem, that we have to learn these lexical things. So if you want to be a doctor or you want to be a lawyer, then you have to learn these things. But if you want to be a mathematician, then you just don't need the historic facts
Oh,
along. So the problem is, as I see it, that you can't choose that you what do you want to learn. So right now I'm keen on physics and maths, and I want to spend more time with it, but I have to learn history, which I don't really like. So that for me isn't a good part, but for my classmates they love it. So I don't want them to don't learn it because I want to use my time with other things. But we should choose what subjects we want to learn. That is the major problem as I see it.
yeah, just a fast clarification, because it maybe wasn't obvious. So under the lexical knowledge, I meant the useless lexical knowledge, which is of course personal, because it's personal that what is useful and what is useless for somebody. Because as Dom just explained, that if you, for example, keen on mathematics, then history is gonna be useless for you most likely. And if you are keen on, for example, I don't know, literature, then most likely chemistry will be useless for you. And so, and what I tried to explain was mostly concerned on the useless the useless lexical knowledge. And also I can very much agree with what Tommy said about that. It's sort of already a kind of, we can say, solution to the problem of the too much lexical knowledge, or a way of solution, as what you've just explained with choosing our subjects. I think we could say that.
Yeah, I agree with you to 100%, of course. We have some questions as well. It is crazy that there are 14 people on the stream right now, so it's it's crazy. So thank you guys for watching, of course, and for listening. So we would like to mention that it is great that you ask us questions about certain topics, but we really try to stay on track with our thoughts on education and everything which is connected to education. But to answer one question, like, is a question for you guys as well, because I'm not sure whether you use TikTok on daily basis or not, because I do actually. So have you seen the Hungarian boy on TikTok who actually talked about politics, and it was like a whole another narrative about politics? So he really supported the party which is on the throne. We shouldn't say that, but facts. We're talking facts right now. So yeah, and in the end he committed that it was just a prank and he wanted to gain followers. So I don't know. Yeah, we have another question. That would you say my name? Jesus, I thought that this would be like connected to the previous question, but to ask, just like answering this question. Yeah, I saw that, but I'm not sure whether the other two boys saw this boy on TikTok. So have you seen this kid on TikTok that like talked about politics, one party exactly, and all the positive things about that party, which were true to 100%, and in the end he told that it was just a prank and he wanted to gain followers and these things.
And honestly, my answer gonna be very, very quick. I do not watch Hungarian TikTok, so no, I have zero idea of what's going on in Hungarian TikTok.
Tommy,
Well, honestly, I have to admit that I don't even have a account on TikTok.
Yeah, that's natural. That's 100% natural. It shouldn't. That's like TikTok is like the underdog of all these social media. So it's crazy how it could grow like this.
Yeah.
And of course, I've seen it, and my opinion, because I can make some, like, my opinion on this is that he did it quite well. He is quite witty, that he just told like a whole another narrative about this topic, and he actually used hatred in order to get views and in order to gain follower base, to grow his own base, follower like count and things like that. So he did it quite well. And being controversial on social media sites is a huge possibility to grow.
Yeah.
Controversies are quite like viral. We can mention Logan Paul here because he was a controversy like back in 2018, and his videos had like 25 like 30 million video per views, like per views per video. Yeah, so it's like crazy. Yeah, controversy can work really well, of course.
Yeah. And now getting back to track, because
Yeah, we should. So thanks for all the questions, but we try to actually keep this whole thing on track. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in other things, you can write us messages on Instagram and things like that, and then we actually can make a podcast dedicated to these topics. So thank you, guys.
yeah, indeed. So I think to just sum up, and I really believe Domi said the key here was choosing our subject and choosing what you like to know is the key missing factor in the Hungarian education, and also I believe in other educations where this exists. We can see a pattern of how hard this is to be balanced out. And so the problem with general with that we sort of, I believe, have to create possibilities to choose subjects, but we got to have limits, and we got to have a certain amount that you've got to do, and because you cannot have a too loose education, you cannot have a too lazy going when you can decide when you want to go to class, what class you want to go, how much classes you want to go, and so on. I mean, the first two seems good, but if you have more, you will have a too loose education, and that's not good either. But of course, our Hungarian experience is also very bad, because learning everything and forcing kids to learn stuff which they don't like is I think very counterproductive, because if you think about it, if you're forced to learn something you don't like, you learn it for the test and you will not actually learn it, and also you will not like studying, and most importantly, you won't have time to study the things that you actually like and you actually want to put energy into it. So I believe somewhere the balance between practical knowledge and practical studying and lexical studying could be a key, which is sort of missing from a lot of education systems. And in case of ours, it's definitely that practical knowledge and flexibility what is missing.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Tommy, additional thoughts, maybe?
Not really. So
then I can. Yeah.
you can turn the page on. So what really this self-education, self-improvement cover? So what are we talking about right now? And just to make it clear.
In my opinion, like, are you asking us right now, or would you like to elaborate?
Yeah.
All right, so Roland, would you like to start with this, or shall I?
You can, of course.
All right, so in my opinion, self-education it could be separated from public education as well, but sometimes you just want to like be a better person of yourself when it comes down to mathematics or chemistry or physics or literature or grammar and things like that, or languages. So you go so self-education for me sometimes means that you actually can put additional lessons besides those existing lessons which you are taught in school as well. So this might be a part of this, but on the other hand, the true self-education for me, which what I'm doing right now, every single day, is those factors in life that you learn about alone, which aren't taught in school. And it is mainly about problem-solving skills. It is mainly about how to actually figure out your ideas, how to be a better person of yourself, for instance, how to keep your motivation on the highest level, finances, for instance, sports, healthy dieting, and healthy way of life, for instance. And this is where I believe the education, like the public education, should be refreshed as a whole, that when it comes down to life, you won't even use, like, it will be just like a random number. I believe that 80% of your studies in public school, those are gonna fall into trash, and there's nothing, just like your plate. Right now you feel that your plate is full of knowledge. You have everything you need in life. But when you enter that, like, adulthood and that state of life of yours, then you finally realize that there's just like a side dish on your plate. There's nothing else. There's nothing more. And this is a problem. What I believe, that if you don't put more, like, besides public education into your little brain, then eventually you will fall during university studies, during your first job, when you have to face your first serious problem. Yeah, things like that. So this is what I believe, that self-development and self-education is really about, that we learn about those things that we aren't taught in school, and it's important. Yeah.
So I have a little bit different opinion. I definitely would include what you said, and it's completely true. I just believe that self-education is not just things that you don't learn in school. Self-education is things that you learn by yourself. Like, if you try to analyze the word itself, it means learning by yourself. And I think you can self-educate on, for example, mathematics as well, if you think about it, because especially in this 21st century, you can go online, you can search for mathematical things. I'm not saying that you definitely will, but for example, I can just say I personally did a lot of research in physics because I'm interested in physics, and I both learned that by myself, and I learned it also in normal education. So I think the key here is that you actually learn things by yourself, and most importantly, these things are things that you want to learn, that you want to know. And of course, a huge part of this are things that you are not taught in school, because there are a lot of skipped knowledge in school. If we just think about problem solving, or finances, and there is a high chance you want to get to know finances, and then you will self-educate yourself. So of course there is a huge part of self-education which includes things that we don't learn in school. But I believe there is even more. There is even more. And the key is to learn by yourself, by your motivation, and for your own.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%.
That's the
Tommy, would
success, yeah.
you like to add other things as well, Tommy?
You guys covered everything, but we got questions. So.
Oh yeah. So would you actually ask us or and answer for yourself as well?
Read it loud. What do you think about those who aren't well educated, but he or she had only one idea and he or she reached success so fast? So.
Who would you like to answer first?
Oh,
anyone can go.
That's a juicy topic. So, well, this shows that public education is not what you really need in life. So, a great idea doesn't come from that robotic method that we are taught in school. So everybody is programmed the same. These personal ideas, these creative ideas make the difference in one's life. So that this is what I need should be taught in school: how to think different than others, how to make just a quick change in a thinking, in a mindset that will change one's life's decisions, and that will lead to success, not being average, standing out of the crowd.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%. Roland, would you like to add other things as well and answer your own, like?
I mean, I can, of course I can agree. I mean, so if we just think of so many great people today as well, lots of them, let's be honest, just had a good idea. Like, of course, not all of them, but that could happen. And I believe if you have something to go for it in life, it can be a good idea. That doesn't have to connect by any way to education, but also it can connect to education. The fact is that if you have something to go for it, and if you believe in it, if you think that it's gonna be good for you, then just do it. And I know it sounds such a cliche, but I mean, that's the experience. If you just do it, then you will see if that's good. Because you can neglect on your ideas, you can, but then you will never know if it's good or not. And I think from just curiosity, we want to know if that's good or not.
Yeah, of course. In the end, you really don't want to say that what could have happened.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're about to pass away, for instance, and you're laying on your hospital bed, and you are fulfilled with bad thoughts about life, and what could have happened, and what could you have just like reached, and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's really important that when you have something great in your mind, then just do it. Whether you want to be like a professional footballer, whether you want to be a part of an organization like Ocean for Life or things like that, you must work towards for that goal every single day. You must work your ass off every single day in order to reach that one specific goal, because we don't need to have like a whole map about what we are capable of and what we want to reach in life. We just need to take every single step towards that dream, and of course you have that dream in front of you, that huge, that dream that you think you will never actually reach, or you won't be that successful, you cannot go onto that whole another level. But in order to get there, you have to see, like, you have to narrow your mind a little bit. You have to narrow your like vision and just concentrate on the upcoming day. You just have to concentrate on tomorrow. This is the key. This is what actually can lead you to, I believe, to your goal, to make a big plan, but to actually just like separate your ideas and try to build it down to like small steps forward to that goal of yours, of course. And I can agree with you guys as well. And we have another question. Shall I just like read as well?
Yeah.
Because it's quite good. And we finally can get back to a little bit like public educational stuff as well with this. So first of all, hi guys. In your opinion, which education system is the best for kids? I mean, if you studied like the education systems of other countries, which one did you like best? So guys, first of all, what kind of different education systems have you heard about, like till now? Of course, this is the main question, because I'm not familiar with like a whole lot, but I can tell some. So yeah.
Yeah, I can just go. So, of course, I think there is, we already covered sort of the Hungarian education. This is the very traditional education, based on a lot of lexical knowledge and a lot of useless knowledge. And then I think there is the British one, which is pretty different from ours. For example, in this system, they got a huge variety of flexibility, as far as I know. This is when I was talking about how there are two loose schools. I sort of meant, for example, this as well. Is, as far as I know, in Britain they don't really have huge needed limits in schools. Like you can just skip a class without being punished, I would say, but just in brackets, and stuff like that. So it's so flexible that literally a children can choose everything. And we know, I think, especially as teenagers, we know sometimes that we need to be right on the point. We need to be motivated, and sometimes that's with different limits that we need to reach. And then a little bit similar, the American one, they also have class choosing and stuff like that. But as far as I know, with more control, from upper leaders, and then the last one I know about is the Finnish education system, honestly, because it's world famous. Statistically speaking, it seemed to be the best education so far. And what is very interesting, I think, in the Finnish education, that they don't have classes. For example, they learn like they don't have subjects such as history. They learn in topics, and they see it from different perspectives. And they also, as far as I know, there is not really difference between the schools. Like there is no grammar school and or vocational school, stuff like that, which are so polarizing between each other, and one is so low qualified and one is so high qualified. They have a sort of all schools being good. And what is really, really interesting, I think, in Finland is that it's being a teacher is a very well appreciated job. And from that, I just want to say, which we haven't talked about it, but I think one of the key aspects of having a better education is having good teachers. Is actually appreciating teachers and having a good teacher education. And because at the end of the day, no matter what kind of education system you have, teachers will make the students study. Yeah, and just to answer as well the question, from that and from what I heard, I wish I could study in Finland.
That was a long explanation, but it was quite thoughtful. So it really helped me to answer your my to just like make my answer as well like whole bit. So, Tommy, what's your answer to this question? Would you like to elaborate more about this, or just like simple?
Well, so clearly, Roland is the expert here. But yeah, to answer the question, I think I would choose Finland too. But so I would also wholeheartedly try the American uh, teaching style. So I'm just really curious about how would cooking or a dancing lesson go. So I read it about a lot that you can choose a variety of these lessons. The lessons, the subjects that you will use in real life. So just like cooking, you absolutely need it. And that would be a fun, I think. So just learning cooking or learning dancing, that or photography. These are the things that I learned through self-development, not through this teaching system.
Yeah, these are those things that you are really interested in, and you need to go like a bit more into those things. This is the only time when you can actually learn these things by yourself, because there's no other way, unfortunately. And of course, I'd like to answer as well. So my answer would be Denmark or Finland as well, because yeah, what just Roland elaborated for you guys. So this is my reason as well, and I actually can add a simple thing to that. So yeah.
One thing, very quickly. So I know I was talking very longly and stuff, but just for clarification, this is not experience. So this is what I heard, and I may know it's wrong.
So it's actually an experience, but from other people and not from you. But
yeah, exactly. Just in order to clarify, because so like, these things should be taken with a pinch of salt, you know.
Yeah, of course. And this is our opinion, and whether your opinion contradicts with ours, it's not a problem.
Yeah, of course.
You still can love Hungarian education, and you still can feel comfortable in Hungarian education, but as for us, we think different. We are built different.
Yeah, and I think now, because we really got into this education and stuff, like the education system, and now is the time. I think I should ask you that. So, actually, do you like more self-development or normal education, and not just considering the enjoyability but also the efficiency and things like that. And under I this mean is literally because we've got in the title is, do we need this? Do you think that you need the normal education? Or would you be fine with complete self-development? I'm really interested. Just thoughts, of course. We cannot change it.
Yeah. Would you like to answer firstly, Tommy?
Go on, PC.
All right. So, well, so for me, both is needed for my goals, because in order to have the opportunity to give myself the opportunity to live abroad, I need to study really hard in public school, because the only way for me to go to other countries and to just like, you know, move around the earth a little bit, education is quite good for that. Because when you do good in school, when you have great grades, you have the opportunity to go to take part in an exchange program. Maybe this is the name of this program, yes, if I'm not mistaken. Exchange. Being exchange student. This is one of my ways that I really want to feel like that whole like agenda and vibe, that when you're an exchange student and you go to another country and you actually can pick up some culture from that specific country and things like that. And of course, considering higher level education like college and university, I think I will need that as well to a certain extent. But my truthful goal is to it will be a little bit like harsh, it will be like a rough sentence to say, but like to concentrate more on my own ideas and on my other goals. Just like the connection between me and public school is just like my goal, and my goal is to live abroad a little bit and to go to other countries, and school actually can provide this quite good for people. However, the 80%, 85% of my goals is definitely all about self-development. First, like, of course, on the other hand, but yeah. And unfortunately, this is my view. This is my view about public education. Of course, you need it or you don't need it. This is your decision. But those goals, what I have, it cannot be like included in public educational system, because those things that I'm really into aren't taught in public education. So this is another thing. And yeah, maybe this would be like my full answer to this question. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
The funny thing that so self-education can have an influence on this public education grades. So like take my example. So I learned typing with 10 fingers, so very quickly. And right now, so I'm taking notes on my laptop, and so I downloaded several applications to learn the things. So like Anki, a flashcard application, mind mapping software, and these are the things that just helped me along my way to be more productive in my daily basis.
Yeah.
And so these are connected in a way. Like I I applied. So I had an account on a Skillshare, which is
Yeah.
a very, very, very great theme.
Yeah, it's
And there
ridiculously good. Yeah.
I learned learning things, learning uh, method.
Like the way
You
of
had just-
like the way of things how
Yeah,
to learn. Yeah. It is great. It is great.
helped me along my way.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to sign up for Skillshare and to use that website. Yeah.
And it's
This
not
should be a-
sponsored.
Yeah, this should be like this should be like the like sponsored part of the video, but it is not, unfortunately. But Skillshare if you want to, of course.
It's really great. Yeah. So, do you want to add anything else, or can I go?
I think you should go.
Okay. So honestly, my answer is that no matter how much I love self-education, because of my goals in life, I know that I sort of need normal education more. And that sucks. I mean, that sucks. But for my goals, it's worth it. So far, I see where I'm going, which is sort of sciencey stuff. Doesn't really matter, and just stuff which you can self-improve in, but you will never completely understand without having a proper education about it, because it's that complicated. And so the fact is that for me, for my goals, normal education is sort of more needed. But and that's a huge but. I really want to make my life in a way that yes, I concentrate on normal education, but self-development stays there. Learning new skills, learning new methods of learning, also, or learning literally anything, because like anything can be good. So learning, staying there, and experiencing new things in life should stay there, or at least for me. And so by this I mean self-development should stay there in my life. And nowadays I feel like it is at a percentage of 70 to 30%, and at least my goal is to keep that, or even make self-development more into it. And I really believe that if you set your goals, if you see at least sort of where you're going, then you can figure out that what you should concentrate more on. And so far, I can say I maybe see where I'm going, and I see that I'm focusing on natural sciences as much as I can. But then I also see that I'm focusing on YouTube. I'm focusing on video creation. I'm focusing on having more language skills. I'm trying to get into finances, whatever. And I'm see that for my goals, which I sort of as for now dream about, I need these things together, all of them, and which I have to learn by normal education, I will learn it by normal education. Which I have to learn by self-development, I will learn by self-development. And I think the key is to realize that what you can get from normal education and from self-development, and to balance it out as much as you can. Because there are goals in life when you will need self-development more and more and more. There are certain situations when you need normal education more and more and more. Sometimes it's completely both. It's just the key is to make it personal, to make it yours, to
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
to have it
Yeah.
your way.
Yeah. And of course, it's up to you again. So nothing is like fully like pressured on. So it's like it's up to you. This is your decision. How you decide about this. It's our opinion. We cannot say this again and again. We need to repeat ourselves here.
Yeah, of course.
We are not experts. We are not like life coaches. We are nothing. So yeah, this is just our thoughts on this. And of course, yeah, this is our opinion.
Exactly. And so I think, especially in the topic of education, there is, no matter what kind of arguments you are in, your personal working thing is good. If something works for you, it's good. No matter that if somebody got you into a debate which have so many rational points, but you have a way that you learn, or you are on a way that you do it, and that's working for you, then it doesn't really matter what others do. And under that I mean is how personalized this is. And so there is not an objective good way of learning. There is just different tips which you can try out. And by the way, I can say it, I can really encourage everyone to try out different ways to find yours, which is working for you. And if something is working for you, then you should do that, no matter what others say.
Repeatedly. So it's important to, again and again, to make this like a daily thing. So yeah, in order to build this in your habits, then you really need to do this for like a long time, repeatedly, every single other day. It's important. And yeah, I can encourage you as well, all the others who are watching this and listening to this podcast, that trying out new things isn't like an idea of the devil. So it's simply great for you because you have more experience. You have more experience. Sorry, and then you have the opportunity to go back to somewhere, to lean on your knowledge, on your experiences. So it's really good to try new things, not just like in education, just like any kind of other like parts of life. So it's really important to not just not get stuck like in life, not just like live in the same area for your whole life. You need to move. You have one opportunity. You don't have another life.
Exactly.
You need to do this.
And one thing I'm pretty sure that if you learn something, if you try something new, if you put an effort to something, then it will somehow help you to make your dream, to reach your dream life, to make your life better. So you won't regret learning something. That's for sure. And public education gives you something to learn. You can add something to it, but in the end, all you can trust is you and what you put in, and what you put in is what you will get.
Yeah, in the end. So like your work ethic is the only thing that matters, nothing else. How hardworking you are, how dedicated you are to your goals, and things like that. Of course, I can agree with that to 100%. Unfortunately, we have other problems. Or would we want to actually end this podcast here, because I have some other interesting topics as well?
You can.
It is
go
more
on.
like,
I think like it's totally okay if you go on.
all right. So it's quite personalized, but I'm gonna tell. So, there's my cousin who is right now 13 years old, and he doesn't like learning and bringing in new information, learn about like interesting facts, like scientific facts or other things. And I believe that this actually could be like tracked back to public education, and how public education wants every single person in schools to fit in one box. In like, you can imagine a person who is right now actually like looks as if they were like a bubble or a sphere or a circle. And public education really wants to form this circle into a box, a cube. Like, yeah. And I believe this is why public education sometimes can kill creativity, dedication, work ethic, the hunger for learning, to bring in new information, to feel the world, to move on, try new things, and to broaden your horizon and things like that. It is sometimes could be taken away by public education, and this is my opinion, and I'm really interested what you think about this, guys.
So yeah, I think first of all, reacting to what you said about your cousin, it's a so not the fact that it is happening is scary, I think, but the fact that it is happening with so many people is scary, and it's because I believe there are just a few things in life which are really for your whole life, but learning is for your whole life, and if you hate it as a child, then how are you supposed to like it when you are at 40? Because then I believe you won't like it at 40, but it will be still part of your life. And so the problem of public education is that we actually with a lot of things, with a lot of different factors which we've been talking about, actually make the children hate learning. And honestly, that is not okay. The key in education, I think, would be to help children to embrace themselves, and also to actually make them like education. Because even though if you're learning a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff which you don't like, even though if you got thousands of things you do, if you can love learning, if you can love studying, then you will get through life. And it is also true, I think, for work, for university or whatever, because it won't stop. And so the challenges of life can be solved throughout studying, and that is what missing from education, to actually help you in order to make a good feeling, a good impression about education. And yes, exactly what Patrick was just explaining, of how you are put into a box, and sort of your creativity is killed, or at least for a certain point, and your actual thinking is limited, and limited to just the topics you are learning in school, like only what the book says. and that's it. Your knowledge is limited to that. Your creativity is limited to that. And this is when I think you will not like learning. This is when you will be like, oh, this sucks, I don't care. And I believe,
even though
yeah,
you
go.
just can't miss it. So you can't get out of the way of learning. You have to learn. And not just this public learning. If you want to have a driving license, you have to learn. If you learn how to make scrambled eggs, then you have to learn it. And you can choose between two things. You can choose to enjoy the way it's happening, or you can hate what you're doing. And I think it's clear that if I ask you this question, that do you want to enjoy what you're doing, then everybody will say, yeah, I want to be happy in my work. But if you look at somebody's life and see that they are struggling with something, they just need to change their mindset. So yeah, sometimes you just can't miss life's parts where you have to learn, where you have to put in the effort. But still it's your choice to take it as a chore or to get in with the work ethic and actually enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah, I can agree with those answers. You know what sucks, guys? That we speak our minds and our opinion is quite the same. And sometimes we just actually can't add anything else because most of the times we just think the same. And of course, when it comes down to like friendship, it's definitely good. It's
fun,
great.
so.
Yeah, it's great. It's fun to talk about
So
these things.
we're 17 years old, and we've been together for, I don't know, since 11 years old.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's great to have you on podcast, guys, and to talk about to you guys. But unfortunately, of course, it's interesting. But just like I'm assuming that it would be like fire and hell if there could be like sometimes some quarrels and arguments and things like that. So it would be crazy as well. But I'm really glad that I have you guys. So that's just what I wanted to add. So it's great that we yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to add something else to this, or just like to bring in something else, or just to end?
I think if you're okay, we can go for ending now.
Of course, I can't see other questions.
Yeah. So I think then here is the right time to end the podcast with some closing thoughts. Yeah, I leave you to have some closing thoughts as well, and then I will end it. Go on, guys. Anything?
Actually, I have something. I just need to type in because I don't really want to really just like to get this wrong. This quote from Marilyn Monroe. If you're not like if you don't know who this beautiful woman is, then you definitely should check her work out and her whole life because it's really interesting. And she had a crazy quote that I really believe in, and she said that if I followed all the rules, I would never achieve what I. And I think this really can be connected to this topic because when it comes down to public school, public education, and this normal stuff, then unfortunately most of the time it's all about rules, and it's all about pushing every single person into one box, whether they are like a sphere or a rectangle or a whole nother shape of something. And this is what I really believe in, to just like forget the rules, man, and go on with your own life. Yeah, that's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Yeah, great quote. And yeah, I one thing I can add that yeah, be different. Do the things that you love, because that's also a huge topic. So if you love something, then you will do it. So as a consequence, you will be good at it, and you can be really, really good in something that you hate. So do what you enjoy, and see your results, because there will be. I I promise you. Thank you.
Yeah, I can agree with this as well.
Thank you so much, guys. And yes, I think these are just actual truth, and especially if we're talking about your life, then that life has to be the best for you. Period. That's it. And you will know what is the best for you. And yes, of course, sometimes a little help from others can be a great blessing, and that's amazing. But sort of, still, your life is in your hands, and so your education and your future, which is, yeah, of course, scary and stuff. But for that, which I usually say to myself, is a really, really easy quote. Life always works out, usually.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And that's that. And so, guys, thank you so much for the attention, and also the amazing questions and support you've had here. This was so far, I think, the most successful podcast of ours, and that's incredible. And actually, for us, I think very motivating and mind blowing. So thank you so much. Just firstly, if you enjoy this podcast, then a subscribe would be really cool. Also, a like would be helpful, and a share would be very much appreciated. As you can see on the picture, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And yeah, before we end the live, we have one last question. What will be your next topic? And finally, we usually find out the topics right before the podcasts.
Yeah, I just wrote that on Instagram. We are open to DMs, and of course, if you would like to hear our thoughts about certain topics that you're really interested in, then it's an opportunity, and you just write to us, and we will do it. So it's
Yeah.
and simple as that.
Exactly. So, thank you for the attention, and see ya next time.
Thank you, guys.